All right, this should be fun. We're going to look back at trades from a year ago, so from March, April of last offseason, and we're going to grade them. So these are from our Dynasty domain leagues, namely Dynasty domains 1, 2, and 4. So if you're in the leagues, you might get a shout out here, but although I'm not going to mention names because some of these are really bad. But make sure you hit like on the video. It's free, easy, and it really helps the algorithm. So please help us out and like the video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. You already know I'm going to say we're trying to get to 2K by draft day. That was 3 rhymes right there that I just got in.
Wow. That's just so impressive.
If you're not subscribed by now,
I'm already annoyed.
Wow. That was so rude. Done. And make sure you check out our locals page as well. It's where our exclusive content is, where you can make trades like this. This is why you get on our Discord, so you don't make some of the mistakes that some of these people made. On the contrary to this, for every bad trade, for every trade that we review that somebody really sucked, somebody else had a home run on.
Yes.
So there's 2 parts of that. It's the people that did fail in these trades, though, are just particularly funny because we know them. But looking at some of these deals, let's start with the first one. This deal is going to be Justin Herbert for Joe Burrow and Jameson Williams. And I think there's a pretty clear winner in this.
Pretty clear winner.
Yeah.
And honestly, last season, I remember the value that Justin Herbert was. He was pretty much the unquestioned QB3. And Joe Burrow was, there was kind of like 2 sides to Joe Burrow. There were a lot of people that had him QB4. We were screaming, no. He's like QB6. And we were like, sell Joe Burrow plus and get Justin Herbert or something like that. So that's what someone ended up doing in our leagues. And guess who ended up winning the trade?
Yeah, not good. All right.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. All right, this one's an early last, I think it's March of last year. This is going to be you get Matt Ryan, Keenan Allen, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb for 2 22 firsts, one of them being the 104, which was Garrett Wilson, and one of them being the 106. The 23 what ended up being the 111 and Cole Kmet. So that's 3 first-round picks, including one of them ended up being Garrett Wilson for Matt Ryan, Keenan Allen, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb. Pretty brutal, if you ask me. That is why you do not trade your picks more than a year in advance. And he traded these picks before the rookie draft of 2022. So he was trading those 23 picks. This would be like us trading 2024 picks right now. Which is not unheard of.
Risky.
But
it's
you shouldn't be trading those away like this, and
unless you're getting a really good deal for something like Olave that we've talked about before.
Right.
But
and clearly here, when you're looking at what he invested in with those picks, Matt Ryan, who was at the time, we didn't know he was going to suck as bad as he did, but he sucked. He was very, very old. Keenan Allen was old. Derrick Henry, old. Nick Chubb, old. I mean, he invested in all declining assets here and sent away 3 firsts. So
yeah, but again, I mean, if you think about it in terms of mid-season deals, which this wasn't a mid-season deal, but Nick Chubb, you probably had to pay at the very least a first and a second to get him mid-season at the production that he had as a contender. I mean, that's what you'd have to pay. And then Derrick Henry, before his injury, I mean, people would easily pay a first to get Derrick Henry. So if you're thinking contender mindset mid-season before any injuries happen, then you're like, okay, that's a good deal. But this happened before the season started, and you're selling things at their low point in terms of value for picks. Don't love it for sure. It doesn't look good now.
All right, Tyreek Hill, Jacoby Myers, and a 23 first-round
which
pick.
Ended up being the 101.
That pick did?
Yeah, that pick was the 101.
You got the Tyreek side, right?
Yeah.
And did you keep the pick?
No, I ended up flipping the pick for something. I forget what it was, but
that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Jacoby Myers, and the 101 this year, although I didn't know it at the time, for Marquise Brown, Brandon Ayuk, a 23-second, 23rd. You obviously killed that trade.
That hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Why does it hurt?
But like that, it hurts that I lost the 101, one, and 2, that hurts for the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hollywood Ayuk, that's tough.
There's pretty clear.
That was when Tyreek was almost falling outside of the top 12 of Dynasty wide receivers in terms of rankings because he went to the Dolphins and Jalen Waddle was somehow going to take away from Tyreek Hill. So we bought him low.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Chris Godwin, James Conner, and Josh Palmer for Robert Woods, Allen Robinson, and Antonio Gibson.
Holy crap.
So this one I think was me. And although I don't remember because I've made so many trades, I shipped off Robert Woods, Allen Robinson, and Gibson. And I mean, obviously, you're taking Chris Godwin over all of those guys every single day of the week, and they're not. And none of those guys really have value anymore.
And looking back, I think this was pre-2022 NFL draft. So this was pre-Brian Robinson, and this was when Antonio Gibson was a borderline running back 1 in Dynasty RB rankings.
Remember when he was going as early as like the 3rd, 4th round last year?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I mean. Look, my thinking in this trade was I had the best asset in the trade in Chris Godwin. I had the most value insulated, asset in the trade. There was risk behind Robert Woods because he was old and coming off an injury. There was risk behind Allen Robinson because he was old going to a new team and had sucked the year before. And there was risk behind Antonio Gibson because, I mean, we all knew. I mean, there were always a group of people that were really down on Antonio Gibson. So, I mean, that's just when you're going through and making these trades. Investing in wide receivers like this, investing in safe assets like this. It's a really good way to make sure that a year down the road you're not making a huge mistake. So
yeah, and this is kind of a trend that we've seen. Even just this has continued on. It will continue, but you will often see value spikes for players who go to different teams that have had past success, but in the recent years before they changed teams, their production went way down. So that's Robert Woods and that's Allen Robinson. And then you have a guy like Chris Godwin, who is just always and forever going to be a good value because he has not stopped producing. He is like the only thing that was a concern with him was the ACL tear. But before he got injured, there was no production concerns whatsoever, and he didn't change teams. So why would you not invest in that and opt to invest in players who you don't know what their situation is really going to look like Allen Robinson and Robert Woods, and they're older, and before they switched teams, they didn't even produce at a high level anyways. They had major question marks. So that's kind of our market value take there is that's kind of what happens in the Dynasty community is you see all of these team swaps and you get excited about them, but like, why? Take the ones that are more proven.
And I should have prefaced with this, but use these trades as an example of how to make your trades this year. Like we're obviously going through and breaking down like the thought process between why we made these trades or why other people made these trades. They weren't. I think only a handful of them were ours. But
yeah,
use these and as an example for good trades to make this year. The next one's going to be, and I'm going to read this generically. So this is what the trade read at the time: Gabe Davis, Trey Lance, and the 109. So that was the 2022 109 for 223 firsts and DJ Moore. All right, so you could break it out like this. Trey Lance in the 109 is probably greater than 2 random 23 firsts, right? And then you have Gabe Davis and DJ Moore. Here's the actual trade that went down after this year played out and why you should not trade your future picks away. Gabe Davis, Trey Lance in the 2022 109 for the 2023 101, the 2023 102, and DJ Moore. They ended up being the top 2 picks in the 2023 draft. Which is why when you have if you have 24 firsts right now, you really shouldn't be shipping them off. I mean,
too much is changing.
You're noticing a lot. Most of the sides that are winning these are the pick side where you had 23 firsts shipped off. There's a reason. It's because 23 firsts are guaranteed to go up in value. 24 firsts are guaranteed to go up in value. The players are not. The players are going to fluctuate, especially old players, especially players coming off injury, especially players that don't have a history of producing consistently in their career. And you see a lot of these players going. Gabe Davis was not a player that had produced consistently, and we warned you about him. Trey Lance, obviously there was a lot of risk. He hadn't played football, hadn't produced consistently, and so he took on a lot of risk there, and it was high reward, obviously, because I guess if Trey Lance would have really paid off, it could have been even, but still, trading away those 2 firsts, random first, and then being the 101, 102 is really
well. I'll say this too. I mean, there are deals when you play sort of market value dynasty and you're constantly playing the market. There are deals you make a year ago that look really bad now, but there were deals you made in between where the value you've ended up with today is better than what you had previously even. So a deal where you're getting Trey Lance at during the offseason last year where you don't know if he's going to start, you don't know what the situation looks like with Jimmy Garoppolo, you're like, okay, I'm going to invest in him now, I'm going to pay cheaper, and then he ends up spiking, going as high as QB4 on the gold standard, and then you flip Trey Lance when he starts and you get just a king's ransom for him. At that point, you end up net positive, and those 223 first, while it's unfortunate they ended up being the 109 and the 102, and that's what you gave up, you still ended up more when you ended up, moving off of Trey Lance. So there are those in-between trades that we don't exactly see. These are just, in a vacuum deals that we're seeing. A lot of this is just the point that value fluctuates like crazy. And this is how much differently things looked a year ago than they did now. So, and again, the 23 firsts, that's why we want you to be reluctant selling those future firsts.
Yeah. The next one's going to be trade by JCJ. JC traded Hunter Renfroe, and I think it was the 206, but a 22 second.
Oh my gosh.
And he got Garrett Wilson. Which is, I mean, a result of, I mean, obviously he's a smart dude and knows more about rookies than us and knew more about Garrett Wilson's profile last year, but we were screaming at that time to go buy Garrett Wilson, and he actually was able to make it happen in a league that we were all in, and just getting him that cheap, he won the freaking lottery, man.
This had to have been pre-Devontae Adams trade, right? Pre-Adams.
Yeah, it had to have been because they're all a year ago. So, like, I mean, you're thinking with Garrett Wilson, but it was after the rookie draft, so maybe not. Maybe not. When you're looking at Garrett Wilson, I mean, if you're not going to invest in picks, I mean, the other side that's going to win here are the ones with rookie wide receivers. And you'll see that in a couple deals below. But Garrett Wilson, I mean, again, rookie wide receivers are going to maintain their value. They have, especially if they have the draft capital, they have potential to be some of the highest value dynasty assets there are. So Garrett Wilson was, that was clearly good. Gabe Davis straight up for Christian Watson.
Ouch. You can guess who made this deal.
Look at that. Look at Simon. Hell, we told him. We said last year, Gabe Davis is buns. He's mid, blah, blah, blah. And Simon, I don't think he is. He's playing with Josh Allen, the best quarterback ever to walk the face of the earth.
If I had a choice between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, if I were starting a franchise, I'd pick Josh Allen.
I would say, Simon, we love you, but we know he's not watching this. So he definitely screwed up by sending Christian Watson for Gabe Davis.
That's why you do not
trade your rookie wide receivers.
Well, not only that, they always maintain their value, but 9 times out of 10, do not move the wide receiver 1 on a team for the wide receiver 2 on a team, no matter how elite that offense is.
Interesting point there.
So with Gabe Davis, especially when they have proven that they get no volume whatsoever, zero volume.
The next one is going to be one of my trades, and I won this trade, but for the record, I have so many trades that I just completely crap the bet on. Just like, for example, I paid Trevor Lawrence in 2 firsts for Justin Herbert, so I don't want to talk about my life. But this one was actually decent. I can't believe I made that Herbert trade. I traded Baker in the 111. I traded Baker in my 23 first for Tua Tagovailoa. Now, this is a rare one where you see a 23 first moved and it actually pays off, because I knew Baker was nothing. I knew he was a throw-in and he was nothing. So I threw him in there, and this was before he was traded. And then it was essentially my 23 first for Tua Tagovailoa. And I knew, looking at my team, like that, even though there's no guarantees obviously with this, I knew looking at my team it was most likely going to be a mid to late first, and it ended up being a really late first. So I essentially got Tua for the 111, and it was playing in a Superflex league, and everybody was down on Tua. I mean, and when you're investing in a quarterback like that, that's an example where you can actually start trading some picks, and it might actually be worth it.
Yeah, Tua was a great buy low last year. I remember I sold
good one this year.
I gave up Elijah Moore and KJ Osborne for Tua. I sold him at his low point.
The bad news is, in that league where I got Tua super cheap, I sold him away and got fleeced on another trade. So that's fun.
Nice.
Learning as I go.
Yeah.
All right. London and a 24 first for Gabe Davis and Kenneth Walker. This is
actually really intriguing.
Yeah.
I think, if you were to say today, I'd say the London and 24 first side won. And then 2 years from now, London and 24 first side is definitely going to be the winner. But honestly, I don't hate it for either side. Kenneth Walker has the highest ADP right now by a lot.
Yep.
And Gabe Davis is Gabe. He's kind of the throw-in here.
The reason this is probably even is because long-term, although the one side is going to win, the London side, the Kenneth Walker side,
producing now.
It's going to produce now and it's going to win short-term. So you have that going for him as well. Another Kenneth Walker trade here. Kenneth Walker for Rashad Bateman and Marquez or Marquis. Help.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
I can't. Marquez Valdez. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Pretty clear. Your MVS was never going to be anything on the Chiefs, and I think everybody kind of knew that. But with Rashad Bateman, he was a guy that we were telling you to sell a lot last offseason.
This would have been the Bateman greater than Burke stage.
Yeah. But even before that, maybe where Rashad Bateman, where they had just traded Hollywood, and Rashad Bateman was the new wide receiver in Baltimore. Yep. But you bought Kenneth Walker, a guy that got good draft capital, went to a good landing spot, and bought that rookie. And
Kenneth Walker is the RB2 behind Rashad Penny.
That was crazy. I cannot believe people said that.
Yeah.
And clear, pretty good one there. And lots of these trades, like I said, we know these guys in our leagues, so it's kind of funny. Because we're buddies with a lot of these guys, but And we've made some
really bad deals before. I remember a 3-way deal that we made, and I got Stephon Diggs for a steal. I forget how I got Stephon Diggs, but then I wanted to move off Diggs to get wide receiver depth, which was an idiotic move. And I got Michael Pittman, who was going either really close to Stephon Diggs or just a little bit ahead of him maybe, and Michael Gallup. Michael Pittman and Michael Gallup, and I gave up Stephon Diggs. Like, that really sucked.
Cool story.
Yeah. You got Stephon Diggs too.
Did I really? Was it me?
You did. You got Diggs. Yep. And of course, he ended up winning the league.
Oh, that was DD1, wasn't it? Yeah, that won me. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is that's just stuff I do. It's stuff.
That's another lesson we have here for sure. Is if you, especially, you have no idea what your need for depth is in the offseason.
Yeah.
Why are you trading for depth right now and giving up your best, most valuable players in down tiering?
Go watch our video from last week.
Don't do it.
Go watch our video from last week. Do this to improve your Dynasty team right now, and you're going to get a full mid-offseason strategy that's going to help you out a lot. That's going to wrap us up for today. So let us know what you think in the comments of some of these trades. I mean, there's pretty clear winners in all these, which is funny. Like, there was only really one trade where we thought was even, and we looked through a lot of trades too. Like, there was a pretty clear winner.
A lot of things changed.
But there's some trends. So let us know what you took away from this and how you're approaching trades differently. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're getting to 2K by draft day, and so we need you to subscribe to help us do that. It helps the channel and it supports us. It's free, it's easy. Make sure you go over to our locals page and check out our exclusive content there. It's going to be our ADP data, rookie rankings, full Dynasty player and positional rankings, exclusive articles, etc. So make sure you head over there as well. As always, we appreciate you guys watching and listening. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.